We'll call our meeting to order. This is a work session of the Mayor and Borough Council of the Borough of Seaside Park County, Ocean State of New Jersey, held on Thursday, November 9th, 2023, advertised for 7 p.m. Pursuant to the provisions of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting was properly provided by transmitting the notice of the meeting for publication in the Asbury Park Press and the Star Ledger on January 4th, 2023. Notice of the meeting of the governing body has also been posted in the corridor of the municipal building and in the office of the municipal clerk. Roll call.
Councilmember Armaville.
Present.
Councilmember Condos.
She's excused this evening.
Councilmember Kraft.
Here.
Councilmember Dr. McHugh.
Excused as well.
Councilmember Wilk.
Here.
Council President DeMichael.
Here.
Mayor Peterson.
Here.
Thank you.
The first item is informational purposes only, a status update on the J Street Community Center, and I'll turn it over to our administrator, Karen.
So the interior of the building has been cleaned out of all the old furniture and other things that were being stored in that building. We're waiting on proposals from 2 vendors for the ramp work. They have all the information. We actually followed up with them yesterday to see what the status was, and they basically said, we have all the information, we're very busy, but we'll get you this quote as soon as possible. Eric is working on scheduling an inspection with the fire marshal. So they can come in and inspect the building, and then we'll have the placard of what the occupancy is in the building. And Sandy and I have teed up some new furnishings and some things for that building, like a coffee maker, a folding up ping pong table, some new furniture. So I haven't ordered it yet, but it's in a queue right now that we can order it. So that way the interior will be set to go.
And one of the future participants had asked a special request.
Ping pong.
Oh, is that was the... Oh, okay, and TV.
Yeah, yeah, the TV is in the queue as well. The ping pong table is, if you can fold it up, store it, people want to use it, then just put it in the main area and use it, so.
We can correct you, it's table tennis. Ping pong's a trade name given to my Parker Brothers. Just for trivia.
Could be a buffet.
What?
Could be a buffet.
Well, it's not table tennis,
It's in the record now.
okay?
Very good.
Parker Brothers gave it that name.
The next item in the work session, the discussion of the local government best practice checklist submitted October 27, 2023. It's also Resolution 223-294 listed for consideration at the regular meeting. And maybe I'll turn on Karen, the CFO,
And Sandy, we all participated together. We went through the entire questionnaire, and made sure all the answers were, everything was done on time. It had to be submitted by November 3rd. All the answers were obviously accurate, and then each one of us had to sign off on it. So it's a pretty high score.
Yeah, that's good.
Good.
I went back and looked at the prior 3 or 4 years, it's the highest score we've had, so.
I noticed the lead grant assistance program. I was wondering if that could tie into paying for inspections of lead paint at the rentals.
That's one of the ordinances on tonight's work session. We need to get that ordinance done for the lead paint inspection.
Right.
Basically, what we need to do is just a visual inspection, and kind of get a little ahead of ourselves, but if we see chip paint, then the onus is on the homeowner to actually do the testing.
I was wondering if we can get some of that grant money that's related to it.
Maybe, maybe not, but we really don't have a need for it because we don't have any expenses for it.
I was thinking code inspections, might be able to help.
It's a visual inspection, so they go in to do rental inspections. If they see chip paint, then we have to alert the homeowner, then they have to take action.
Okay. And the nature of the resolution that's on for consideration, that is an acknowledgement of having read it, received it, similar to like when we have the annual audit.
Yes.
Any other questions, comments on that from the council? The second item is discussion of authorization of the sale of surplus property no longer needed for public use on an online auction website. That's 2 is Resolution 297, listed for consideration at the regular meeting. I know meetings occurred with Public Works.
Yeah, this was DPW, yeah.
And
Yeah, piece of vehicle has to be sold off, it's a no value
Yeah,
store.
Yeah.
It doesn't operate safely.
right. It's unsafe and it's seen its time.
Can we use the microphones, please? It's really.
Are they not on?
They're on.
You want to send them this way a little bit?
Thank you.
How's that? Better?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
What Public Works wants to auction off is a 2003 Ford F-150 pickup truck and a 2007 15 cubic yard roll-off container. The F-150 has multiple mechanical issues. The rear differential is leaking. It's the second rear we put in this vehicle. And the roll-off container is rusted and it can no longer safely transport cargo, transport material because it's leaking. So I want to put it on municipal.
any other questions, comments from council? The third item is discussion of potential changes to Borough Code Chapter 185, Uniform Construction Codes Fee, Liability Insurance Registry, and lead-based paint in rental dwellings, authorization for the Borough Attorney to draft the related ordinance modifications. And that's related to the discussion moments ago mandated by the state.
Some of these fees we did not have in place for the charge there, for the, they were added for universal construction fees. And the other ones, the rental, landlord rental, ordinance, municipal code for landlord rental registration for insurance that was mandated by the state. You have to produce a cover sheet for your liability insurance when renting your property.
And it has the regulations from the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs. And that's where the ordinance and the sample regulations originated.
This is effective as of this year as well, right? Both of these?
Yeah, we didn't go into effect until next year.
2024.
Well, that's what I mean, 24.
Yeah,
I'm
24.
going into next year, I
Yeah,
apologize,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Both of them, the lead-based paint test as well as the insurance.
That's correct.
So we need to make sure that those people doing their inspections by January are notified. Do we do that?
That's why we need.
No, I mean, just saying, because
Yeah.
people do the early bird inspections. I think the lead-based paint portion of this, it's beyond just a visual inspection. The homeowner is going to have an obligation to be tested every 2 years, it looks like, with dust swabs and other things, and get a certificate. That's what this is saying. So it's not just a visual inspection from what I got. We spoke about this a little over a year ago. It's a little bit more inclusive. So let's just make sure that that's been brought to the attention of the public. If they are renting, it's going to be part of their CO and their responsibility.
My understanding from our code office perspective is the way they identify it is visually, and if they see it's chipped, that's what starts the whole ball rolling.
Well,
If there's-
reading this part of it though, and I went through this course about a year or so ago, anticipating this for renters. Yes, they'll do an inspection, but there's going to be a certificate every 2 years the homeowner's going to have to provide. Now, they can pay their own inspector to come in and do that inspection, but it's a dust swab. There's additional, only houses before 1978, by the way. So it's a little bit more than just a visual inspection from what I've taken on. So I think we need to make sure that the public knows that. That could be a $500 fee for that inspection. Just FYI.
And if you want another wrinkle, I brought it up last year, and I've heard it in the public. There's an element of unfairness when you compare one person who complies with the ordinance for inspections, for example, with a single-family home. And right next door, there's an Airbnb that has never been inspected, and the neighbors, they're the brunt of it. And how do we stand as a community if there's potential liability if we're not following the community affairs guidelines?
Well, Mayor, I will say this year, our code office went through Airbnb and VRBO listings in Seaside Park and contacted folks if they didn't have a rental inspection, and they had to get a rental inspection.
Some folks rent without advertising, just word of
Yeah,
mouth.
it's, can't get
So,
rid of
but when we
it.
spot them, we have to be proactive, monitor that particular address.
That seems, that's
Found
a
that on Wall
suggestion.
Street.
Yeah, that's a suggestion here from the state. It falls on us.
Right.
The next item is discussion of establishing procedures for video recording and public comments during public meetings as per the research, and there's a resolution 295 listed for consideration at the regular meeting this evening. Any questions, comments from council? I know there's a number of other regulations, ordinances out there that are some stricter from other municipalities, some similar. This is all encompassing of the two areas of concern.
Yeah, it seems many municipalities have this type of ruling, guidelines.
Anything else from council or any on that or other issues?
You're set, Mayor.
If not, we'll go into the audience if there are any public comments. If anyone has any, if they could give their name and address into the record. Yes, sir.
Is that on? Is that microphone?
It should be.
agenda.
We can hear you guys.
Work session items.
Yeah, this is for a work session.
Mike Spadafino, 59th Avenue. Okay, I'll just talk loud. One of the things that procedurally I've never seen it needed to be codified by resolution to have the 5-minute time limit on the public comment. But as I've seen what's written here, I make a suggestion that the chair have the right to be able to extend the period of time and not lock everybody down exactly at 5 minutes if the chair, or the mayor in this case, has a reason to believe that he wants to let that person finish their point. So that's a suggestion. Another suggestion, since I'm not going to be sitting up there with you, that I think that procedurally, a few things really should be considered for the meetings. And one of those things is I believe that every meeting, to explain some of the resolutions, that the township administrator should be asked to comment during the beginning of the meeting. Also, if there's an issue that may involve the township attorney.
Okay, these are comments on work session items only. Do you have any work session items?
Well, I told you the one. I'll do it over again.
Thank you, sir. And of course, under Robert's rules, our municipality, as do many, adopts Robert's rules in the January reorganization meeting, and Robert's rules trumps all of the procedures, and there is a discretionary element included, which is adopted annually in Seaside Park for the chair. Yes, Evie?
Edie Flynn, 48 11th Avenue. As to that last resolution, does that mean that I can't ever ask another question?
No, you can, the point is, you can always ask a question. The governing body is not obligated to get into a Q&A session back and forth. It's for public comment. If one of the governing body members feels they can make a comment with regard to your question after you're done, they will, because it's not a debate, it's not a Q&A. If not, they'll take it under advisement and consider what needs to be done and try and give a response at the next meeting.
Okay, so that's
Oh,
kind
you
of like
absolutely
what
can
we've
ask
been
questions.
doing.
Yeah, well, a lot of
Because
times,
sometimes I ask questions that you answer, and sometimes.
they don't.
You don't.
Right. So if they feel like they can provide an answer, they will. Most of the times, they'll probably want to take it under advisement, whether it goes to a committee or through the administrator, and then provide an answer at the next meeting. It's just trying to say, if you come up and ask a question, don't expect that it has to be answered.
Necessarily.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
And then I just have a comment, and it goes back to the microphones. When, I'm a teacher, and I'm used to projecting. When you people are sitting up here having this work session meeting, you're basically conversing with each other, and your voices really don't carry. So unless you are specifically talking into a microphone, we don't get it, especially when, for example, like tonight, Bill's sitting facing that way. It's really hard. So if somehow there could be some way to improve the mic system or to improve use of the mic system during the work session, that would really be appreciated, because, you know, some of our ears are getting older. Thank you.
I think we'll just make sure
Any
we
other
set up the
comments on work
mics.
session items? Yes,
We need to-
Jim?
Jim Korzinski, 114H. I'm also a teacher, and I can project my voice. My comment is, if we are going to do this procedure about 5 minutes and trying to keep the meeting moving, those of us in the public that are very interested in what's going on need to have access to the agenda earlier than Wednesday afternoon for a Thursday meeting. And because we don't always have the time to go through it when we walk in here or when we get it late in the afternoon. So if you're going to enforce the rule about you may make comments, but you might not get answers, at least we need to know beforehand so we can go to Karen and ask our question. So that's my comment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments on work session items? Yes, Chuck?
Chuck Appleby, 215 10th Avenue, Seaside Park. Regarding the lead inspection, I just had a rental turnover in Manchester, and they said, "Oh, where's your lead inspection?" And it was 2 days before getting my CO and somebody moving in. And the inspector came in, did it. I tried to get somebody to do it quick, but the inspector just came in, did the inspection, gave me the CO, and he didn't ask for the lead tech. So I was able to skip that.
Yeah, but that's because it's not really in effect until 24.
Yeah, well, the town wanted it, so what I'm getting at is that the connection between the office and everything needs to be in a SOP or something. Something should be written out on how to do it, so it's clear.
Like
And then
notice.
clearly
Send
let the
notice.
people know.
Yeah, that's why I said make sure it's noticed when they send
Yeah,
out
but
the,
very important.
you know,
When the renewal
preparing for the renewal
notices.
notices. And that happens in January. Both of those
Yeah.
items should be in there informatively for everybody to be aware of.
Right, so I deal with HUD and lead inspections, which a lot of this is derived from, although the state has done a lot more. But transient populations, where it's less than 6 months occupancy in a dwelling, you're exempt from having to give the notice of lead possibility older than 1978. So you don't have to give that loan brochure out.
Right.
But with these inspections, I think the transient aspect should be looked at with our rentals, because there's transient population and then there's regular, fully, more than 6 months, I believe it is.
Yeah,
So I don't know if the rule has that in there, but most of ours fall under less than that.
they do.
They're transient, and the hotels, motels would fall under that too, unless we're gonna have everybody do it.
Well, we discussed that in the preliminary, when this came out last year. Those would still have a 2-year requirement. Every 2 years, that certificate would have to be up to date. So whether there's a transient situation going on, the homeowner is required to have that certificate.
Right, and the inspection for chips, my understanding, it goes a little bit further. So if somebody replaces their windows with vinyl windows or something, that's pretty obvious that you're not gonna have that. But if they have windows that have sashes and there's dust, and there's doorways with dust, that triggers the sampling. So it takes a competent, trained individual to be able to go and do the
All right.
the inspection.
Right. Yeah, that was my comment, that it could be up to $500 for those inspections. So you-
600 is what I.
Right, there's a
couple
certified
wipes.
tester that comes out and has to actually do it, send it out to a lab, like there's a whole
Right.
process.
And there's tons.
That's not a standard inspection that one of our people are trained to
That's
do.
right. They have to hire somebody.
Right, so that's kind of.
There's money to be made, of course, for
Yes,
law.
of course, yes.
But I'm very happy about the Airbnb, the cross-check. I asked for that probably 8 years ago. I'm glad that they did it. What did they find? Did they find any number of units that were being done and weren't there, or was it just a couple?
Tell you the truth, Chuck, I don't know that answer off the top of my head. I just know that that was an initiative this year to go do that, so I can get you that answer.
I thought it was back, we found, I think there was like 8 or 9.
Yeah, it's not many.
Wasn't too many, but it was hard to identify some of the addresses at
And to
that
make sure
time.
that they're legal two-family units was the other
Right,
thing.
right.
The other thing was, the Airbnb I brought up before, that we should limit the number of days, so, or, have a number 5 days, 4 days, whatever it might be, but to have something. So a lot of other towns are doing research on that, and we should look at that and try to come up with something, for quality of life issues.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on work session items? Yes, Edie?
Between 40 and 11, I forgot to mention, when I saw what the resolution was about the Q&A and the 5-minute and stuff, I got in touch with Karen because I had a couple of questions about a couple of the resolutions. And she and I met today, and we had a very productive conversation, and I just want to publicly thank her for her time.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn the work session and then take a brief recess. Go into the regular. Motion by Council President Michael, second by Council Member Hammerfield. Any opposed? No opposition. We'll stand adjourned at 7:25 and take a brief recess.